Hi everyone, a very warm Wiltshire welcome to Castle Combe circuit for rounds 9 and 10 of the Cox Motor Parks Civic Cup. The cars have completed qualifying, so let's take a look at the grid, which is headed by Ben Sharp, Mark Grice on his outside, Rob Baker and Jason Ballantyne on row 2, Daniel Hobson and David Vincent on the third row of the grid, then Daniel Reason and Mark Gibbons, James Griffith and Paul Taylor, row 5, Bruce Winfield and David Buki, from Oliver Barsby and Chris Coomer, Adam Kruger and Andy Hart, Paul McHugh, Craig Carter, with David Poyser completing the grid. Red lights are on here at Castle Combe. Out they go now. Let's watch Ben Sharp from pole position, left of shot, front row, but a good start from the outside of row 2. Jason Ballantyne with the red wings, black bonnet, goes through from fourth on the grid, sails round the outside line. Superb move by Jason Ballantyne, on board with David Vincent, looking up the inside line there. He's Rob Baker, championship leader, goes through, so too does James Griffith. But it's Ballantyne who's got clear, 2 wide for second place. Grice and Sharp side by side. Grice looking around the outside, seems to favour the outside line here. I'm wondering perhaps if they'll ever consider maybe switching pole to the outside as they do at Silverstone. But you certainly saw Jason Ballantyne had great momentum. We're not getting anything from race control to say jump start, so just absolute perfection there for Ballantyne. Through go the field. Dave Poyser and Craig Carter qualified 19th and 18th respectively. And the circuit drying out, you can see some damp patches on the track which might make things tricky. There's Andy Hart looking to bag a top 10, having had 11th place at Alton Park. He's getting nearer there. Rob Baker challenging Daniel Reason. Reason is third in the championship at the moment. Baker, the championship leader, as we said, 22 points clear of Mark Grice, which is a pretty decent lead for Rob Baker at the minute. And Baker, the most successful driver in the championship, 7 career wins. He's total by my maths, 12 podia and 12 fastest laps to boot as well. And he is working hard, but it's Ballantyne still out front as they head down through Avon Rise into Quarry Corner. Once again, beginning to settle down, but these cars very evenly matched. It's pretty much down to driver skills as the race leaders come into Bobby's corner. This will lead them through Westway, down the Dean Straight to Camp Corner, and then across the start-finish line to tick off another lap. All looking fairly settled at the moment. It's what happens in these races, you get a little bit of a frantic first lap as Daniel Reason looks up the inside line and he's going to go through and passes Ben Sharp. So Ben Sharp, having qualified on pole position, now down in 5th. Daniel Reason up ahead of him. David Vincent having a look at Bruce Winfield. Again, coming into the chicane at Bobby's, used the runoff area there, grab the curb here as they go around Westway on Dean Straight now, heading down towards Camp Corner, and then across the line now goes the race leader. So it's Jason Ballantyne still out front. There is Daniel Reason. Ben Sharp now getting involved with Rob Baker, who looks on the inside line. So Baker making progress. We've seen, I talked about Baker being the most prolific winner in the field, which he is, with 7 wins. Mark Grice 6 by my calculations. Jason Ballantyne has 2, one of which was this year, one last year. But this year the wins been pretty spread out over the both race 1s and race 2 reverse grids. Now you'd expect different winners to come through from the reverse grids, but we've had lots of different winners in the fastest off the front races over the course of the season. So it's been a super year. Reason, Baker, Grice and Danny Hobson the race 1 winners. Danny Hobson, Jason Ballantyne, Aaron Sharp and James Griffith the race 2 winners in our 4 events so far. There is Paul Taylor in the 195 car. Had a double retirement at Alton Park. Great to see him back. David Buki, the Class A champion of 2016. Running well. 4 times class winner. 7 outright podia over the years for David Buki. So an established, experienced, fast runner in the Cox Motor Parks Civic Cup. So some very good racing right the way down the field, and 3 wide here. This is going to be a little bit of a sort out. David Vincent on the outside line, which converts to the inside as they head through Avon Rise, coming down into Quarry Corner once again. Andy Hart in the mix as well there in the 1-2-3 car. David Buki qualified 12th on the grid. Andy Hart was 16th. Just goes to show you how close everybody is. Watching them go through the S's, that's the first of the 2 chicanes. It's a very, very fast circuit here at Castle Combe. A little bit of Civic Cup history for you. It's the first visit here since 2011, rounds 3 and 4 in 2011. Paul Cowland took a double. Rich Hockley was the man who took 2nd place on both occasions. Rich Hockley was the champion that year. Paul Cowland finished 3rd in the championship behind Mike Hamlet. Hockley winning the first of several titles. But it's still Jason Ballantyne who is out front. Ballantyne looking for a 2nd win of the season. It'd be a 3rd podium. He had a 3rd place at Alton Park, race 2 as well, remember. This is super race. On board again with David Vincent. Vincent looking at James Griffith. Griffith made good progress, started 9th on the grid. And has come through and stayed with this lead group. It shows how very evenly matched they all are, but it's Ballantyne still there. Lights ablaze from the 2nd place man, the championship leader Rob Baker, who's going to extend the championship lead here because he's ahead of Mark Grice at the moment. And just look back further down the order, David Buki still involved and dicing with Bruce Winfield. They're not that far behind the lead battle, to be absolutely fair. Bruce Winfield, there he is in the 37 FM2, Buki in the EP3, trying to challenge hard. You can see the mixture of yellows and greens in the background. I won't try and make sense of what's going on. There might be the end of a yellow flag zone as they come through the S's off Farm Straight. David Buki still challenging Bruce Winfield. This is the battle for 7th position. Buki changes down. Superb footage that we get from the multitude of onboard cameras. And David Buki trying to close in at the moment on Bruce. And that lead quintet plus the 6th position car of James Griffith still through. You can see the waved yellows there, and it's still Jason Ballantyne who is out front, but coming under pressure from Rob Baker. Danny Hobson back in 4th, on board now with Rob Baker again. This is the battle for lead position, coming down into Quarry Corner. Ballantyne will have a crafty look in his mirrors. Not quite sure what his mirror strategy is. Oh, he goes down the inside. Baker has a look down the inside line there as they came into the S's. Wasn't quite room, but he had a look. And that was a good move, a very good attempt. Great racing from the pair of them. But clearly Ballantyne didn't want to let him pass. And as a result, Baker's lost a wee bit of momentum. And coming up now is Mark Grice. So Grice putting pressure on for 2nd position. Baker felt, I think, that he had enough space to challenge for the lead and maybe enough breathing space over the 34 car. As soon as you come offline to make a move, you're compromising your lap speed. It can leave a little bit of a gap for the car behind to come up. So Grice is still there at the moment. They come past the pit lane entry along Dean Straight, through Camp Corner once again. Oh, and a very wide line there. Very, very wide line indeed there by Mark Grice as they go on to the last lap, and Grice is dropped back. This takes the pressure off the lead pair, so it's Ballantyne from Baker, and Baker will sense now that he's got no pressure from behind and could well challenge for the lead without worrying about losing time. So if he makes a move and it doesn't work, it won't be a big problem for him. They're closing up on Dave Poyser in the treble 5 car. Dave keeps a wide line, good driving from him, doesn't interfere with the lead battle. Job to know where to go, isn't it, on the S's, but he sticks to the inside line. Everybody through safe and sound with Jason Ballantyne still there at the moment. Rob Baker is in 2nd place. Ballantyne, remember, will go 3rd in the championship now after Dan Reason's non-finish, but Baker will have the championship lead. We've seen Grice drop back down the order, so Baker will extend the championship lead here if he can't get the lead. I don't think he will now, because they're coming through Bobbies for the last time. then through Westway, onto Dean Straight. The checkered flag is being prepared, and Baker is closing up. He wants to take a second win of the year, but I don't think he's going to do it, and it's going to go to Jason Ballantyne. There's the checkered flag. Ballantyne takes it. Rob Baker in second. Superb round 9 of the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup. Daniel Hobson takes third place from James Griffith. David Vincent, Mark Grice held on for sixth place ahead of Bruce Winfield, who saw off David Buki going across the line. To a fine race to get our Castle Combe weekend underway. Is the result. Ballantyne from Baker, who got fastest lap. Hobson and Griffith next, then David Vincent and Mark Grice. Winfield and Buki 7th and 8th. Mark Gibbons 9th ahead of Paul Taylor. Then it was Chris Combe and Ben Sharp from Andy Hart. The finishers completed by Adam Kruger and David Poyser.
Blinder at the start, 4th to 1st within like the first corner, so yeah.
Yes, I noticed that, a real blinder at the stop. What was your technique to do that?
Just drove it off the line. It seemed to work, so yeah. 4th to 1st, I was pleased with that.
And the Honda sound fantastic actually, don't they, as well? They go really well.
Yeah, when they're in VTEC, they sound amazing. They're just flat out all the time. Sounds brilliant. Yeah.
Very close race, wasn't it?
Yeah, always the same, shocking start, and managed to get back to second, so dead happy with that.
Yes, and obviously you're leading the championship, aren't you? So I guess you must be pleased, bear in mind, after the start.
Yeah, when you get off the line and all your championship rivals are all of a sudden in front of you and there's a few cars between as well, it's slightly disheartening, so really happy with the pace and to get back through to second.
A good race for you as well?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, there's never been so much change in a Civic race this year, I don't think. That was absolutely fantastic, yeah. From 3rd to 4th, nearly 2nd, back down to 4th, and finished it sideways over the line. I thought I'd lost it there, but yeah, no, brilliant.
Welcome back to the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup here at Castle Combe. Paul Taylor starts on pole position with Mark Gibbons alongside. David Buki and Bruce Winfield row 2 from Mark Grice and David Vincent. James Griffith on row 4 with Danny Hobson. Rob Baker and Jason Ballantyne next from Chris Combe and Ben Sharp. Andy Hart on row 7 from Adam Kruger. Then it's Dave Poyser and Craig Carter. Danny Reason with Paul McHugh and Ollie Barsby completing the grid. Oliver Barsby, of course, our first casualty of the meeting and hasn't had a racing lap yet, but let's hope that gets rectified here. The lights are on and go out. Paul Taylor and Mark Gibbons then 10th and 9th respectively in race 1 on this partially reversed grid. We're not going to get a Ballantyne fly from the outside, but it's a decent start by Gibbons. Good too, though. He's matched by Paul Taylor on the inside line as they go through Folly down towards Avon Rise for the first time. Up Avon Rise indeed, into Quarry Corner. David Buki coming under pressure from Mark Grice. Buki at the moment looking for 3rd position. The 37 car of Bruce Winfield is immediately on his outside as they head down to the S's for the first time. A long farm straight. This is the view as they come into the S's, and it's Paul Taylor still there. Mark Gibbons giving him a good run at the moment. And it's a superb, I really commend the championship format here, that we have a partially reverse grid race in race 2, because it gives us a chance to see some of the drivers that perhaps we didn't get to focus on in race 1, and we do in the early stages. So anything with reverse grid racing is ideal for TV and race day coverage. Jason Ballantyne about to be passed by James Griffith down the inside line. Ballantyne was teeing up again on the inside to repass, but on board with Rob Baker. Baker, championship leader. 1 win, 3 second places this year. 178 points on my maths. We don't have the official table for you after race 1 as of yet. So David Vincent is the car immediately in front, the 75 machine. David looking for his first win of the season still, but has been on the podium. What a sight they make. This top 10, very difficult to sort themselves out, of course, as Paul Taylor still continues to lead. We've now got Mark Grice up into 2nd place. David Buki is 3rd. Then Bruce Winfield in the 37 4th, which is where he started, but he's passed cars, but he's had a couple pass him as well. David Buki started to his inside, and we're on board with David at the moment. Podium position. This will be his first podium. And this year, if David can maintain that place and indeed pace over the course of the race, we've had 9 of today's field on the podium so far this season. It's a really good stat to underline how competitive this championship is. But look at the gaggle coming towards us. Championship leader Rob Baker at the head of that. Jason Ballantyne down the inside of Danny Hobson makes the position up. James Griffith in behind, so Griffith didn't get that place made from the earlier lap as they go into Bobby's once again. Rob Baker 24 points clear at the moment of Jason Ballantyne on total points scored. Then Mark Grice third in the championship, 147, really close for fourth and fifth between the two Daniels, Danny Hobson and Daniel Reeser, 134 and 133. And James Griffith, by my math, sixth position. I might have missed someone out, apologies to you if I have. But we've also got drop scores to cater for as well. Look at the pressure that David Vincent is under at the moment, and that big sweeping outside line is looking very appealing at the moment for Rob Baker. The outside line not for the faint-hearted, but he's side by side at the moment with Danny Hobson. He'll grab the inside line for the first part of the S's. Hobson holds on to position, and Rob Baker with work to do. I tell you what, Paul Taylor's doing a super job out front at the moment, the race leader. We've got Mark, just checking on Mark Gibbons, who's lost a few places at the back of the shot there, down behind, I think that's Daniel Reason, 77 is up ahead of him now. But Mark Gibbons with a good learning opportunity, isn't it, starting on the reverse grid at the front and just getting the opportunity to learn what it's like psychologically to be up the front, and he did well off the start, tracked Paul Taylor for a bit as well, and will have learnt greatly. Here's David Vincent, the predominantly white, red and green car that you'll see in shot, the 75 machine, very much in the thick of it, and chasing Bruce Winfield in the 37 for fourth place at the moment. The race leaders heading away from us, so Winfield coming under pressure, now the back end steps out, Winfield is off, and he's going to glance into the tyre barrier, and that's a top 10 out of the question for him. He's reversing, so I was going to say, I don't think there was a huge amount of damage. He might possibly pit for a diagnostic, but he's got the car going, so thankfully not our first casualty of the race. But not the way Bruce Winfield wanted this. He's got an awful lot of work to do to get back up to the sharp end. Started fourth position and loses out, and losing out as well is Craig Carter, who's got damage, sadly. Craig starting in 16th place, and he's going to be our first retiree, sadly, of the race. Well, frenetic stuff, and the race beginning to settle down into a pattern. And it's Paul Taylor still there at the moment. Mark Grice in 34, busy hounding him. David Buki is third, a little bit of a gap back to third at the moment, but we've got a big battle for the lead on, and Buki's got the box seat for this. And watch Mark Grice challenging for the lead. Where is Grice going to make his move? It's a fast flowing circuit. He's got the inside line, he's got his nose up the inside line of Paul Taylor, the race leader, side by side. They're closing in now on Craig Carter. Here we come, up into and through. Grice is through into lead position as they come out of Bobby's. I beg your pardon, that was the S's. So out of the S's, and we've got a new leader. It's Mark Grice in the 34 car, who finished in sixth position in race number one, has come through. Got a great view of the rear end of Mark Grice's car. Grice, who was runner-up in the championship last season to Lee Deegan. Daniel Reason third in the championship last year. And Reason working his way up into the top 10. So from the back of the grid, that's the best probably that he could hope for in this. Reason will, I think, go back up into fourth, possibly third in the championship. We'll have to work that out at the end on the points, but Rob Baker will go, if he keeps this up, with his championship lead intact. Mark Grice will, I reckon here, go back up into second position in the standings if he can hold on to the win. David Buki is in the mix as well. Buki, championship wise, is in the top 10, so David Buki here having a good campaign as well. But it's Mark Grice still the race leader. going into Bobby's once again. Baker did look stronger earlier on. He takes a slightly tighter line there. Nothing defensive in Mark Grice's driving at the moment. Down Dean Straight, through Camp Corner, dab on the brakes, grab the apex, drift out to the curbs on the outside line and onto the last lap. So what's Rob Baker going to be thinking here? Is he going to be no, he's not sitting back, he's getting closer, and Baker wants to try and force a mistake. Takes a slightly different line, shows a look on the outside line here as he goes through Avon Rise down towards Quarry Corner for the last time in this 1.85 mile circuit. And Baker again, look at the wide line that he's got here. This is still attacking, he's still thinking about it, has a quick swing to the inside line, not close enough to do anything about the race leader. And Mark Grice, not overly defensive. I don't think that Mark Grice feels that threatened. He knows he's been in a race, but we're not seeing any overly defensive moves from him. Baker putting the pressure on, still with the fastest lap, which was set again on the penultimate lap. Missed the last lap of the race, so it's Grice still there. David Buki will be a 10th different driver from this field to step on the podium this year by the look of it, as they now go into Bobby's, out of Bobby's for the last time. Westway, this is Westway coming onto the Dean Straight, down towards Camp Corner, and it's going to be Mark Grice to take a second win of the season to add to the one that he took at Alton Park. He'll look for the checkered flag, which is being waved now. There's the checker. Mark Grice wins round 10 of the championship. Rob Baker second, David Buki is third, David Vincent just seeing off James Griffith for fourth position, Griffith fifth, Daniel Reason in sixth from the back of the field virtually, so a great drive from him. Here's the result, Grice takes the win, Baker second and fastest lap from David Buki, David Vincent, James Griffith and Daniel Reason, Chris Coomer and Mark Gibbons next from Ben Sharp, Ollie Barsby up into the top 10, Paul Taylor 11th from Andy Hart and Bruce Winfield, then Jason Ballantyne, Adam Kruger, Paul McHugh and David Poyser completing the finishes.
Mark, that was a brilliant race, and you must be delighted with the win.
I am, I'm really delighted. I mean, I come second to Rob in the championship at the moment, so I knew I had to try and beat him really, and I could see him coming through with his headlights glaring. He's the only one in the pack that had the headlights on, and yeah, we do ignore them, but when you're looking in your mirror and there's some headlights coming in, every time you're looking at another lap is another car closer. I thought he's going to come, I'm going to have to do some defending.
Rob, that was some race. You started 9th and came through to 2nd.
Yeah, started 9th, went back to, I think, got up to 5th, sorry, then went back to 9th again, then up to 4th, and then put pressure on the guys in front. It was a cracking race, really good. It
was excellent. You're really putting a lot of pressure, weren't you, on your teammate there? Yeah,
a lot of pressure on him, and we both raced fair. We raced each other all year, and he withstood the pressure well. He did well.
3rd place, must be real pleased with that, David.
Yeah, it's really good to bring the car home in 3rd. You know, we've had a difficult start to the year, to say the least. Rob did a fantastic job, likewise did Mark. You know, I think Rob's been a bit of a flying bullet all year, hasn't he? Pulled on the inside of me coming into the S-bends, and you know, I just wasn't going to defend, and he took the place and obviously had the pace to carry it on. Want to say a big thanks to my sponsors, MTech Brakes. They've been with me for about 3 or 4 years now. Smart Image Workwear, Interlinks have just joined me this round as well, and a big shout out for SW Motorsports as well.
Mark Grice wins round 10 of the Cox Motor Parts Civic Cup here at Castle Combe. 2nd place Rob Baker and 3rd David Buki. Please join us again next time when the action moves to Brands Hatch.